From the station working for you, this is WRTV News at 11, streaming now.
At this hour, we continue to watch road conditions as a wintry mix moves out and strong winds move in. Good evening to you at 11 o'clock. I'm Mark Mullins.
And I'm Amanda Starrentino. Let's get right to Kevin with a storm team alert tonight. Kevin.
And I can mention really strong winds and cold winds. We've had a gust to nearly 50 miles per hour in Tippecanoe County. The gusts will continue 40 miles per hour or stronger in spots through about 4 a.m. Then they'll calm under 30. It's going to be windy for the next 24 hours. There you can see that west wind is bringing in the colder temperatures and stays strong through the day tomorrow. There are a few snow showers. Lafayette to Crawfordsville drifting to the east. Notice the tumble in temperatures down to 20 degrees by 7 a.m. I'm worried about refreezing in areas that had the rain. To the south, the wind may help evaporate some of that moisture, but where the wintry mix of snow and sleet was falling, watch for ice. Slick roads, driveways, sidewalks, anything untreated will be slick in the morning. That's the word of caution there. We'll talk about what changes for the weekend and when we see some more accumulating snow. That's coming up.
We'll see you in a few minutes. Thank you, Kevin. IUPUI's history runs deep in the area of Indiana Avenue. Sadly, laying the foundation of the downtown campus literally erased much of the footprint of Indy's flagship black neighborhood. New at 11, WRTV's Cameron Riddle is working for you with details on a new scholarship for students with their own Indiana Avenue roots.
While Black History Month is only 28 days long, IUPUI is doing something that will honor Black history 365 days of the year.
During summer 2020, a large constituent group of IUPUI administrators and student leaders pulled together some various anti-racist initiatives. And one of the suggestions that came from that was the Through Their Eyes Memorial Scholarship.
The scholarship provides $15,000 to an incoming or current IUPUI student whose family was displaced during the establishment and construction of the IUPUI campus.
IUPUI, began in 1969 and began to occupy the land that was, home to a thriving Black community and bought out many of the homes. And we know, obviously, long before that, we have, Native communities who have also occupied that land.
The communities of Ransom Place and Indiana Avenue were the headquarters for Black culture, Black existence in Indiana, and home to nationally known Hoosiers, including Madam C.J. Walker.
This scholarship is a way to honor those individuals and their ancestors and their descendants.
The Through Their Eyes Scholarship is part of an inclusion plan first initiated in 2006 by IUPUI's Black Student Union. Khalila Shabazz is the Assistant Vice Chancellor for Student Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion. She says the call to give something back to the community that lost so much continues to echo more than 50 years after the first home was knocked down.
So I think it's a great way to bring forth, our past to our present, reconciling, in some way the things that, we have done in terms of our community. And so really reestablishing ourselves as supporters of the Black and Indigenous community that thrived in our areas.
Cameron Riddle, WRTV.
The Through Their Eyes Scholarship is accepting applications now from Black and Indigenous people who have ties to the land around Indiana Avenue. Applicants have to submit an essay detailing their family's connection to the area, and preference will be given to applicants who can demonstrate or provide evidence of their connection.
From race to risk to age, those are some of the factors playing a role in access to the COVID-19 vaccine and willingness to get it. WRTV is working for you, showing how the government and the community are working to overcome various vaccine barriers.
We start with a look at the partnership between state health leaders and Indiana's Minority Health Coalition. They are working to address vaccine skepticism among minority populations. Officials say their first priority was making sure information about testing and the vaccine was available in multiple languages. Now they're trying to build confidence in the shot by recruiting trusted community leaders to help share vaccine information. And that could be anyone from a physician to a popular radio DJ. Organizers will work on creating video testimonials to connect with those hesitant to get the shot.
There's probably no more important public health matter than this. People are dying, and people are disproportionately dying when they're people of color. If nothing changes, population of color will disproportionately not get the shots that they need the most because they're at greatest risk.
According to the Indiana State Department of Health website, only 4% of COVID-19 vaccinations have gone to African American Hoosiers, who make up almost 10% of Indiana's population.
Other groups are stepping up to help vulnerable Hoosiers by taking the vaccine to them. For some high-risk patients, leaving their homes to go to a vaccination site is not possible. So the mobile integrated health team with Oak Street Health goes door to door, making sure eligible men and women who want a vaccine can get one. 93-year-old Anna Louise Springs and 84-year-old Mary Steele got their shots today in the comfort of their own homes.
I see the people getting these shots, and nobody flinches. I said, no, really, let's not hurt very much.
I'm done.
Are you sure? Really?
Yeah. Couldn't feel it. Easy peasy. It was easy, better than I thought it would be. I was scared and everything.
Easy peasy. The Oak Street Health Senior Medical Director says the organization is focused on making sure underserved communities receive good health care. There are 7 centers throughout the state. Eligible patients can sign up online. You can find a link by clicking on this story in the WRTV app. Hoosier teens are not eligible for the vaccine yet, but that is not stopping some from educating themselves and their peers. The Show Some Class campaign is a partnership between students at 8 local high schools and the health department. The task force, led by teenagers, is renewing its commitment to slowing the spread of the virus. They have updated the acronym for CLASS. It now stands for Commit to Self-Care, Learn About the Vaccine, Avoid In-Home Gatherings, Social Distance and Mask Up, and Stay Home.
We really encourage our students to learn about the vaccine beyond TikTok. We really want our credible sources, and we really want our students doing their research to truly know the importance of a vaccine and what they can do to help, in any way possible during the vaccine distribution.
It's just important to keep in mind the big picture. Like, even if you're not personally affected, chances are you know someone or you'll be around someone who is affected.
Task Force members Jake Richardson and Sarah Weglars are students at Westfield High School. The Hamilton County Health Department says COVID cases are going back up among people 19 and younger. That's why the department is recommitting to the Show Some Class campaign.
Right now in Indiana, anyone age 65 and older, long-term care residents, first responders, and healthcare workers are eligible for the COVID-19 vaccine. You can make an appointment by going to ourshot.in.gov or by calling 211. Supply is limited, so appointments are not guaranteed. The health department encourages people to check the website often.
Another vaccine option could be on the market soon. Johnson & Johnson says it has asked U.S. regulators to approve its version, which only requires 1 dose. ABC's Mary Alice Parks reports as the virus continues to rage across the country, vaccines are not a cure-all.
It's a big goal, but is it big enough? The Biden administration working towards getting 100 million doses of the COVID-19 vaccine into the arms of Americans by the end of March. But experts say because new, even more contagious variants of the virus are spreading, vaccinations need to speed up.
We have to get a lot of people, especially high-risk elderly people, vaccinated before these variants take hold. That's going to happen over the next 6 to 8 weeks, the variants, and that's really our time frame in my mind for getting high-risk people vaccinated.
And late this afternoon, Johnson & Johnson submitting an application to the FDA requesting emergency use authorization for its new vaccine. In Boston's Fenway Park, officials hope to vaccinate 1,000 people a day by next week.
We expect that this site certainly should be able to ramp up to doing about 8,000 doses a week in the not too distant future.
There is already talk underway to perhaps develop booster shots for patients to better fight against new variants of the virus. Public health officials are also asking Americans to continue wearing their masks and social distance. Across the country, 91,000 Americans are currently hospitalized with COVID-19, according to the COVID Tracking Project. That's the smallest number since November. And the decline has been steep. In 41 states, hospitalizations down 10% in the last week, according to local officials. Still, this Tennessee ICU nurse says she and her colleagues need help.
I think the one thing that I want people to know most about this pandemic and about COVID-19 is that it's a reality. We will continue to fight, but we're exhausted and we're tired and mentally, physically, emotionally just worn down. And we need you to fight with us. We need you to care.
Some good news from New York. Once the epicenter of the pandemic in the U.S., the state says it is seeing its lowest daily positivity rate since November. Governor Andrew Cuomo, though, said the state needs more vaccine to win the war. Mary Alice Parks, ABC News, New York.
The Rebound Indiana is WRTV's initiative to help you get back on your feet amid the pandemic, and we're holding officials accountable. The Internal Revenue Service is responding to your questions and concerns about delays related to stimulus checks and tax refunds. The National Taxpayer Advocates Report of Congress outlined a slew of issues with the IRS impacting taxpayers, including lack of communication with the public about delays, inadequate telephone and in-person service, and long delays in processing paper returns. Some Hoosiers are also still missing their first or second stimulus check, or they got less than they are owed.
What should they do?
The way that you can reconcile that is by filing your tax return and filling out the part where it says recovery rebate credit.
What do you say to people that say, you know, that's just a headache?
We're sorry for any headache that this may cause, but the fact is that the IRS has delivered over 160 million recovery rebate credits, and the vast majority have received it on time.
The IRS wants to remind Indiana taxpayers if you make less than $72,000 a year, you can file for free using IRS e-file rather than paying for a program or software. Also, do your homework if you decide to hire a tax preparer, especially one that promises you a huge refund.
It's pretty clear that Kroger has some means to be able to pay some hazard pay.
Coming up, some cities in other parts of the country are trying to force big companies to give essential workers a pay raise. But is it legal?
Two of the best boys basketball teams in the state going head-to-head tonight. Coming up in sports, Brad has a full recap of Lawrence North taking on Carmel. You're watching the news at 11 on WRTV.
From the station working for you, this is WRTV News at 11, streaming now.
Indianapolis Animal Care Services hopes you'll show some love to pets in need this month. IACS is waiving adoption fees all through February. If adding a pet to your home is not right for you, you can also support the shelter by donating to the Friends of Indianapolis Animal Care Services Foundation. For more information, go to friendsofindyacs.org.
As temperatures dip, a reminder to protect your pets from the cold. It's not just the right thing to do, it's a rule in Indianapolis. Under a city ordinance, you must bring your dog inside if temperatures drop to 20 degrees or below. Violators can face a citation. Volunteers of Friends of Indianapolis Dogs Outside, also known as FIDO, go into neighborhoods, educate pet owners about the dangers of cold weather. The group also provides resources.
Like inside training crates. So people that normally keep their dogs outside, there's a way for them to bring their dogs in. Flea treatment. And then for when dogs are outside, you know, we offer insulated dog houses and straw bedding. But really our message now is please bring your dog inside, especially at night. You know, this next week, the temperatures are going to be brutally cold.
It is okay to take your dog outside for short periods of time. If you have concerns about a pet left outside in the cold, you can report it to the Mayor's Action Center or through the Request Indy app. And we've got some colder temperatures on the way, right, Kevin?
And Mark, looking at the 7-day forecast, which you'll see in a second, temperatures do not reach the freezing mark after tomorrow. And I think we'll probably have a 7 to 10 day stretch where temperatures don't reach 32 degrees. We're 29 now in Indy, 27 in Kokomo. Falling temperatures now as we dry out. The moisture pushing into the state of Ohio. We have the very strong winds. They're cold too. Those are my pine trees in the backyard swaying in the 40-mile-per-hour gusts. As the wind calms down, it never really calms. Still 20 to 30-mile-per-hour gusts will be with us through the day tomorrow. It's just the 40-mile-per-hour gusts are stronger, probably end around 4 or 5 in the morning. First thing in the morning, temperatures right around 20. Again, don't be caught off guard. Watch especially any sidewalks, parking lots, bridges. Anything untreated will be slippery, especially from Indianapolis north. Temperatures during the day tomorrow try to make it to the freezing mark in Indianapolis, but I think areas north will fall well short. There will be what we call a tight temperature gradient, and from cold to temperatures not as cold to the south. 27 Saturday, Sunday noticeably colder, and the transition to the very cold temperatures will take place with an Arctic cold front generating some snow across central Indiana. There are your temperatures with a mixture of clouds and sunshine tomorrow, and still very windy conditions, so it will not feel like the lower 30s. The strong wind gusting 20 to 25 miles per hour pretty consistently through the day out of the west and northwest, guaranteeing the colder air. Show you a few snow showers tomorrow afternoon into the evening are possible. They slide to the south. The best chance overnight into Saturday morning is in the southern portion of the state. As I mentioned, coldest temperatures settle in Sunday. Saturday night into Sunday, some very light snow, but with the temperatures colder, it's a drier, fluffy snow. Indications are we could see a 1 to 2 inch snowfall across central Indiana. Wind chill temperatures as cold as 20 below when we get together. That will be on the Sunday morning. Temperatures next week, as we mentioned, Monday through Thursday, going nowhere. Some single-digit morning lows, highs in the 20s, if not in the teens. And we're not through the core of winter yet, but this is what sets up that first spring-like day when you get to 50 and you think, whoo, we've made it. Amanda?
It all becomes relative. Hiring Hoosiers is committed to connecting you to job opportunities, especially during this difficult economic time. Due to the pandemic, more families are choosing to keep their senior relatives at home instead of moving them to retirement facilities. That has led to a growing need for at-home caregivers. The company, Home Instead Senior Care, is looking to hire more than 100 people across central Indiana. Along with daily tasks, caregivers also provide companionship. Brenda Steckler has been a caregiver for 8 years. She calls the job a blessing.
You spend so many hours every day with them, and they become like family. So it's wonderful to spend time with them and get to know their family, and it's a real blessing. I really enjoy that a lot.
Home Instead Care positions are available right now. You do not need any certifications for the job, and the company provides training. For more details, go to hiringhoosiers.com.
Grocery store workers across the country are not getting the hazard pay they received from their employers at the beginning of the pandemic. A growing number of cities are changing that by requiring large grocery chains give that extra pay again. This week in Seattle, a mandate went into effect that makes large grocery stores pay workers an additional $4 an hour. Long Beach, California created a similar rule. Other cities across California are considering doing the same.
The way these hazard pay mandates were written, they really target just a handful of very profitable companies that have earned a lot of extra income during the pandemic.
Molly Kinder with the nonprofit Brookings Institution has been researching policies for frontline workers during the pandemic. She says there are legal questions with these new mandates. One is the legal grounds for singling out some workers over others. Another is, are the mandates legal with the collective bargaining agreements between grocery stores and unions representing workers? Kinder says how these issues get resolved will influence policies across the country. So far, some of the companies impacted are responding in different ways. Trader Joe's is temporarily raising worker pay nationwide. Kroger decided to close 2 of its stores in the Long Beach area.
It's pretty clear that Kroger has some means to be able to pay some hazard pay. The exact amount, that can be up to debate about what's the right level that they can afford. But I think it's pretty clear from their earnings statements alone that Kroger has extra profit now because of the pandemic that it could be spending on workers.
In a statement, Kroger says in part that the mandate, quote, oversteps the traditional bargaining process and applies to some, but not all grocery workers in the city, end quote. WRTV News at 11. We'll be right back. Big Ten basketball is coming to Lucas Oil Stadium. The conference is moving the men's basketball tournament from Chicago to Indianapolis the week before the NCAA tourney begins. Now let's go to high school hoops. Here's WRTV's Brad Brown.
One of the best matchups of the boys basketball season. Carmel paying a visit to Lawrence North. Mick lead on the line. Just a single loss for each team so far. The Wildcats brought the early energy on their home court. Donovan McCulley scores inside. LN was up 3. But that would be their only 2-point basket of the entire first half. Carmel with a strong finish to the opening quarter. Will Leary at the buzzer on the same court where his dad Todd was an LN star 30-some years ago. Carmel up 3 at the first break. They stretched that lead in the second. Leary hits for 3 more as the Hounds started to find a little rhythm. The big story would turn out to be Carmel's defense, smothering from the very beginning. They held LN to just 4 baskets made in the entire half. The lead was 19-11 when they went to the locker room.
They're saying in the huddle, stops are going to win this, stops are going to win this, and stops and rebounds. And so it's I love to see the growth with these guys because defending is important to them, and they enjoy it. And that says a lot about what kind of kids we have right now.
Carmel was playing without 6'7" senior Brian Waddell, taking time off for an ankle injury, but several guys stepped up in his absence. In the third quarter, it was sophomore Sam Orm. He hit 3 3-pointers on 3 straight possessions in one stretch. 11 points in the third, and very quickly, Carmel had stretched its lead to 20. LN trying to get anything going. One of their rare fast break chances led to a CJ Gunn dunk, but still just 20 points on the board in the first 24 minutes for the Cats. In the fourth, more big plays for Carmel. Bryce Beery was the guy this time. The senior poured in 10 in the final quarter. Carmel trying to fight off some heavy LN pressure to keep their lead. The Hounds would stay steady down the stretch, though. Pete Sutter led the scoring with 15 points. It wasn't as close as the final score. Carmel 63-49 as they take over the lead in the Metro Conference standings.
Kind of just everyone be aggressive, everyone move the ball, be on the same page. I think our chemistry was really well tonight, and we're all extremely tough tonight. We all rebounded, started off slow on the boards. It kind of killed us offensively, but we fixed that after halftime, I think.
The teams play in opposite halves of the state tourney, so they could not meet again unless it's for the 4A championship. Some other action at Westfield on Thursday night. Shamrocks hosting conference rival Fishers. The Rocks with the pressure early. Braden Smith the steal going the other way for 2. The teams kept it pretty close most of the night. The Tigers coming back to Lucas Pruitt. He knocks one down from up top. A little bit of back and forth in this game. Westfield this time finding Cam Hafner for the 3-pointer. The Fishers would come up with some key plays on the road. Miles Stringer gets it to Bryce Williams. He lays it up and in. Part of a 57-52 win for Fishers. They hold the Hoosier Crossroads lead with a 3-1 conference record. Brad Brown, WRTV Sports.
Caution is the word first thing in the morning. Start out with patience. If it turns out not to be slick, that's good. Temperatures in the afternoon, lower 30s. It stays very windy, 30-mile-per-hour gusts through the day tomorrow. Mark?
Good advice there, Kevin. We want everyone to be safe. Thanks for joining us tonight. GMI, head your way at 4:30 tomorrow. Have a good night.